Hi there. Welcome to Artfest Ontario with our online event. So this is our day 6 and things have been going great. We've had a lot of fun. We've had a lot of great comments and interaction with our audience out there. We're streaming live on Facebook and we're also doing live on Zoom. So it's worked out to be quite a neat thing. And I'm still learning and thanks for coming along with me on this journey because it's been quite amazing for me, and I've had so much fun and learned so much. So, and you guys have all been a great audience and very kind. I'm sure it won't always be that way, but right now things are going well. So yeah, so I just wanted to let you know a couple things. You can chime in on the Q&A if you're watching on Zoom. There's a question and answer section. You can write comments in there, ask questions, even if it's a thought. We don't have chat turned on live just because we're still for us, it's a bit too much going on at one time. And in Facebook, you can actually chat in the comments on the live event too. So feel free to comment. And I really need some feedback from people too on what kind of things they like, what they like to see at the show. And I'll tell you a little bit about that later. So with this launching of the Artfest Live show, you know, we've come to the conclusion by our reaction and from our visitors and from the audience, and also thinking about building out our plans, that we think that this should really be a regular thing. So I'm excited about that. So I'll be doing live online, not every day, trust me. I won't drive you crazy every day. But I think we're going to try it once a week and see what happens. We have a lot of material to share. We've got, we got over 600 artists in our Artfest family. And there's lots to talk about, and now that they're starting to see how it all works too, and see what the potential is, they're excited about participating. So I'll be getting emails from them, calls, say, "Oh, I'd like to do an interview with you too." And so I think we've got lots of interesting information, and we're always learning things too, and we like sharing information and with people. So we like to help give a bit of a backdrop for the audience and also with the artists, and hopefully have us all move smoothly into shopping online for the next several weeks as things still keep unfolding with the closures of our events and things. So that'll be a great opportunity for us to keep connected. So when just tell a little bit of story, the first Artfest show I ever did, I think I mentioned in our first day one that I became an Artfest show producer instantly because Don Nosbaum, my colleague, and became very ill, and he basically handed me a hard drive, said, "You're running Artfest now." And I think you can imagine the stress or the concern and the worry. So he just said to me, "No, you can do this. I know you can." And I thank God he had the faith in me because he was, he was right. I could do it. But I'll just tell you a little bit about the very first show, because it was an August long weekend, Pacific holiday weekend. I think it was I guess it may be 2010. No, 2000. No, it was early before that. Anyway, about 2010 I think it was. And typically that weekend's in August, pretty hot. We get challenging weather, and Don had always had the most amazing weather for our shows. Like he just was I always thought he was kind of a weather god. Like every show we had was just really worked out fine. Even though it said it was going to rain, it didn't, or it would be a teeny shower for a few minutes, it would go away. And so I just always marveled at, the luck that he had, because having good weather at an outdoor event is crucial for its success. Like we have to have good weather. If we don't have good weather, the people don't come to the show, the artists don't sell. It's just a big downer for everybody. And if you rely on that revenue for your shows, then you really need to have good weather. And we all know that doesn't always happen. So I said, sort of a little silent little prayer, and I said to Don, "Okay, I'm running the event for you this weekend, but you're in charge of the weather. You have to be, in charge of the weather." So what happened that day, I mean, and basically every single thing that could have gone wrong that weekend went wrong. Honest to God. Like I learned by diving right in and having to deal with everything that could possibly go wrong with a show producer. and the thing that was so magical about it was actually I was able to deal with it. I was able to handle it. People say, "God, you look so calm," when this happened or that happened. And I'm like, inside I was a total wreck inside, but I knew that, you know, if you're going to be running events and you're in charge, you have to be in charge. You have to be a leader. So you can't, you know, fall apart and look like you don't know what you're doing, or look afraid, or you just always have to say, okay, we have a problem here, let's deal with it. So sure enough, that weekend, this crazy storm came through. I'm talking, it was pretty much a tornado that came through Toronto. And wind, and at the distillery district, it's always kind of windy. Like, we always have wind challenges there. But this was like something I'd never seen before. And we were really worried. We had everything battened down really hard, you know, really tight, huge weights on everything. You know, we were prepared. And but what happened was, I got a phone call, I guess, at 11 o'clock at night from my security team, and they were like, you know, saying, "Oh my God, you're not going to believe what just happened." And I was over in Toronto Island, so I knew the wind was howling. Like, looking out, I'm lying in bed, looking out the window, and the trees are just going crazy. And I was like, "Oh my God!" And he said, I was just down Gristmill Lane, and the tent that was at the end of the lane just blew straight up in the air, 20 feet, and flew down the corridor of the distillery district. I was like, "Oh my God." Then the next one went, and then the third one collapsed, and anyways, luckily nobody was there, because it was late. It was, you know, late in the evening, so no one was hurt. But what a mess. And then going over in the morning, first thing in the morning, I couldn't get there till the first boat went from the island. Get over there, and it looked like, you know, Armageddon. Like, it was just a mess. Tents and other tents had collapsed. So we lost 6 tents that night, and a lot of product was destroyed, and it was really, really challenging. So I mean, that's the bad side. So that was my first show, and then we had booths in the wrong spot, and we had things that didn't work, and we had all kinds of problems, and our things were mixed up with the map, because it was my first map doing. And anyway, so I learned everything the hard way, as I usually do, but it all worked out in the end, and we ended up having a fantastic show on the last day and a half of the event, and I was on my way to be an Artfest show producer. So that's my little story about that. But it was an interesting weekend. And I was, I guess I thought to myself afterward, I said, okay, I guess Don is a little bit mad, you know, and distressed that he's gone from us. And and that's his way of showing me, you know, like, well, maybe he was showing me that that's just what I had to be a show producer. I don't know. But anyways, so we're lucky today to have, let's see. Oh, actually, I'm just going to do one more thing before we get on to our next program. I wanted to just talk to you a little bit about, I mentioned about carrying on the shows with our show, our online show once a week. But I also wanted to share with you that, you know, this has been a great opportunity for Artfest to really look at, you know, our business plan, our business model, and look at how you know, what else we can do with Artfest Ontario. And kind of by things waiting and unfolded, we've got a great opportunity to expand our services and really bump up this online store as a sales hub for Ontario artists. So that's where we're going to put our focus for the next few weeks, on developing that piece of our website and getting as many artists as we can to come on board with that. And then really throw my digital marketing skills pour those into that project. And one thing, I've been taking digital marketing courses for the last 7 years, and I've learned a ton. There's lots more to learn because it changes all the time. But I just wanted to send a thank you out to Paul Tobey and Nancy Houle, because they're the ones. They're from Training Business Pros, and they're the ones that have guided me along and trained me and taught me, and also been a huge support and always there to help, from Training Business Pros. And without them, this never would have been possible at all, this whole idea. And also I want to say thank you to, part of that whole story is that Cheryl and Mike Irving have been in my life for many, many, many years. Sorry. And Mike, before I met, I guess, let's go back a step. When I was at an Artfest show, my very beginning, Paul Tobey came up to my booth there. I didn't know him, and he talked to me for a while. He said, "I like what you're doing here. if you ever need any help with, digital marketing, whatever, here's my card, give me a call. I meet people like that every day at the show. You want to remember everybody, but I know I didn't really remember. And somehow I signed up for one of his getting his emails, because I guess I took his card, went home, checked it out. So, well, it's not for me right now, but I'll keep it in the back of my head. And I started getting emails from him, and I got emails from him probably for like, I don't know, quite a few years, but never really dove into it and looked at it very closely. And so Mike Irving called me up and said, we're going to this conference this weekend. I want you to come with us. I'm like, no, I can't. I'm too busy. I'd love to. Thanks for asking me, but I can't make it. He goes, no, you have to come. And I said, well, what is it about? He said, well, it's all about digital marketing. It's a great opportunity. These courses you can learn, and these guys are amazing. And I was like, oh God, I wish I could go. I just can't. And he's like, no, you're going. He said, I bought you a ticket. It's $100. I bought you a ticket. I was like, what? He's like, you're coming. You're not passing up this opportunity. I know you, and I know this is the right thing for you to do today. So I was like, oh, geez, okay. So anyways, I went, and I went for the weekend, and I met Paul and Nancy, and changed my life. And so set me off on a whole journey with, being able to do what I'm doing with Artfest Ontario and all the marketing and the shows and all the computer stuff. It's just been great. And I want to thank Cheryl and Mike about that, for that, because without them, I wouldn't probably be here either. And also disappointed about Paul Tobey. I got those emails on a regular basis, all that time. Don't give up, because I eventually, it came into my life. So just, if you're sending emails out to your customer list, or you're, or you're all signed on to things, don't give up on them, because you never know when it's going to be important in your life. So that's why I just wanted to mention that. So and Paul Tobey runs a new program, which I'm involved in. It's called That's Ambitious. It's for anybody who's running a small business, artists, anybody really, not just people running businesses. There's things in there for just everyday life and just best practices. And I encourage you to check it out. That'sambitious.com and see what he's up to. So back to Artfest Ontario. So artfestontario.com. So we were lucky today to have Andy Griffiths back with us. He's a musician that's been involved with Artfest Toronto for a few years, and he performed with us I guess on day 3, I think it was. And he shared with us his children's program, and he wanted to come back and share some of his adult songs, which I think is a great thing. And he's getting live, and he's gonna be live from the studio. He's in Oakville, and we're just going to get set up here. And it'll just take a second for him to share his screen. And then I'll get him going here. There he is. Can everybody see him? We can't hear you, Andy. Al? Unmute.
Can you hear me now?
I can't hear you. Oh, great. There you are.
Yay.
Badly clicking here.
Must have got muted from my end. Sorry.
No worries. We're all sorted out. Everybody can see you now. That's great. So thanks.
You can see me now?
Yeah.
Good. Yay.
Yeah. Okay, so we're all set here. So Andy, thanks for coming on back on with us today. So you've written some quite a few songs for lots of songs. So here we are.
Sounds good. I'm going to play some more adult-oriented music, except for one which spans the ages, and we'll save that one for last. But it's a sing-along, just so you can prepare for that. This first song that I'm going to do is written for, I wrote it for the Canada 150, and it's called Live a Little. It's about time that I spent up north in Northern Ontario. I love it up north, and when I was actually looking for inspiration to write something for Canada's 150, I was talking to a friend of mine, Tommy Swick, and he's a singer-songwriter. He loves to spend a lot of time up north. And so I said, well, you know, that's great. I said, what are you doing for the summer? He said, oh, I'm going to go up north. And he said, you know, you've got to live a little, man. And that was interesting because it was his idea of living, is heading up north and getting lost in the woods and doing some fishing and all that sort of stuff with his puppy. And I thought it was interesting because people have different takes on living a little. Some people think it's, you know, if you want to live it up or live a little, you go to New York City and splash around a lot of money on shows and dinners and stuff like that. But Tommy's idea was just to head up north and take it easy. And I kind of like that idea. So that's what this song's about. Gonna catch a plane, take a ride in a boat, find me a spot, someplace remote, up past Walla, a river named White. I tell you now, you'll see the stars at night. Fires by the cabin make the scene just right. Looking at the lake, the most beautiful sight. Well, I made up my mind, I'm gonna live a little, dance through the trees to the sound of a fiddle. Head up north and see the light in the middle of north. Made up my mind, I'm gonna live a little, dance through the trees to the sound of a fiddle. Head up north and see the Ontario. Oh, love life. Gonna go swimming and play like an otter, fishing for dinner in the middle of the water. Sit on the dock as the days grow longer, raise a glass to my mother and father, grab a brew, throwing a line, gonna kick back and spend a little time, letting the world slip on by, knowing everything will work out fine. Well, I made up my mind, I'm gonna live a little, dance through the trees to the sound of the fiddle, get up north and turn back in the middle of north. I made up my mind, I'm gonna live a little, dance through the trees to the sound of the fiddle, head up north and get lost in the middle of north. Ontario, oh, 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 Ontario, oh, 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 Ontario, oh, oh, oh. Get in a canoe, paddle away, dipping in rhythm till the end of the day. Gonna find myself when I lost my way, knowing there's a place I'd like to stay. Well, I made up my mind, I'm gonna live a little, dance through the trees to the sound of the fiddle, head up north and get lost in the middle of majestic pine. I made up my mind, I'm gonna live a little, dance through the trees to the sound of the fiddle, head up north and get lost in the middle of north. Ontario, oh, 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 Ontario, oh, 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 Ontario, oh, 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 yeah. Ontario, oh, 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 Ontario, oh, 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 Ontario, oh, oh, oh. There you go.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm going to switch up guitars. And again, keeping with the Ontario theme in the north, I have a friend who lives in Gravenhurst, and he runs something called Curry's Music and Collectibles. Have you ever heard of that, Lory?
I haven't.
No. Well, it's a very cool place. It's right on the main strip in Gravenhurst. And not only do they have very interesting guitars and instruments there, but they have vinyl records, clothing, vintage clothing. They have all sorts of different collectibles. And not many, but some of the things I've actually collected from there, and I gave to Helen as a Christmas present. And she's used them in her paintings, which is kind of cool.
Nice. Sounds like my kind of place. I'll have to visit there for sure.
It's got some neat stuff, yeah. So anyway, I was looking at their website one day, and I saw this guitar. This is a Stella, a Harmony Stella, and it's from the 60s. And I learned on this I don't know if it's this guitar, but it's a guitar that looks just like this. So I thought, wow, I've got to have that guitar, because the guitar that I learned on got, I don't know, lost or lent away or given away or something like that. But anyway, it disappeared. So this could possibly be the guitar coming back to me, but I don't know. But anyway, I saw it on his website, so I decided I had to have that. And I called him and told him that I would like to have that. So I sent him some money. He held it for me, and I was trying to figure out how to get to Gravenhurst. Well, as it turned out, there were some friends of mine playing in Gravenhurst at a place called Peter's Players. And so I called them up and asked if they would mind picking up this guitar for me. And they said, no problem, because we're actually going there to buy some records. So they brought down this guitar, and I wrote this song that night. It's called Stella. Some things are meant to be, like the day that Jesus passed. Now you're back. We're gonna make it last. I was minding my own business, just thinking about love and forgiveness. When you appeared to be online, what a time. But I think you mine. Come to me, baby. Come to me, yeah. Come to me, baby. Can't you see? Come to me, baby. Come to me, yeah. Come to me, baby. Can't you see? I need you in my life. It's so bad, cuts it like a knife. Up north, many miles away, good friend who brought you down. Now in my arms you stay. You took my frown upside down. Make some sound. Hit the town again. Come to me, baby. Come to me, yeah. Come to me, baby. Can't you see? Come to me, baby. Come to me, yeah. Come to me, baby.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're a little bit out of sync with our imagery today. I don't know why with your picture and your music.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I don't know why it's happening, but I don't know if we did anything different or not, but just thought I'd mention it.
I didn't do anything. I know one thing that might be a little bit off. Do I have a second to fix it?
Sure.
Okay.
I'll just talk to people for a second here.
Okay.
I think you can see me up in the corner. So Andy's just going to have a little look at his settings on his system there. Lots of technical things in the background here, which are lots of things to ask and questions to figure out. But anyway, so I hope you're enjoying the music. And on Thursday, tomorrow, which is tomorrow, we are having Faroukas, the Faroukas Latin duo on here tomorrow afternoon for our show. So that'll be fun. They've been doing Artfest for many years too, and they're just an amazing couple. So they'll be on tomorrow. Yeah, it's hard to believe we only have 2 days left of the show. So yeah, they'll be on tomorrow live in the afternoon, probably around, I'm not sure the timing yet, probably around, I don't know, 2:30, I think we'll probably put them on. We'll see how my agenda is coming up tomorrow. So every day I, get my agenda ready sort of the day before, and then it all changes. It all changes, sorry, I should say that. But things change in the next day, and we make adjustments and get some ideas. I've been learning how to build videos and build videos, edit videos, do slideshows, get the sound in, build it all together. So that's been my new project this week, is learning how to do all that. So it's been fun, actually, just starting to get the hang of it. So let's see if Andy's just about ready to come back on here. He's just coming now. Just changing some settings there. So I'm not sure what you guys have planned for this coming the weekend. And on Ottawa right now, it's actually a gorgeous day and sunny. So I know that it's kind of hard to sit inside a day like today when we have had so few nice days. But thanks for joining us today and spending your precious time with us. We really appreciate it. So coming up on July 1st to 4th, which is not that far away, Canada Day weekend, where we would normally be in Kingston, Ontario. We've got our show, we're working on our show for those 4 days. It's going to be a challenge because we got a lot more material to fit in, probably less of me chatting about things, but I don't know how it's all going to work yet. We got 4 days. We have a lot of artists. We have 200 artists in that show, and we're going to be having poetry and live music, kids stuff again. We've got the First Nations artists that are going to be participating, and it's like, oh, here I am. So First Nations artists that is going to be participating as well. So looking forward to that. I guess we'll just have to see if Andy gets that sorted out and comes back. But meanwhile, I can actually take you on a little bit of a tour here. I'm just going to share my screen. Hang on. There we are. Try to get this sorted out. So I think you can see my screen here. I'm going to shut down that. So the best way to shop on the Artfest website is go to artfestontario.com, and we've got a couple of options there. So up here you'll see on the tab the online event. Sorry, shop artists, and then you'll see here the Artfest Store Gallery. So these are the artists that actually have started being part of our new Artfest Store platform. And you can click on any of these artists in here to see what they're up to. Now if we go to the Art and Metal, just want to show you an update because they just emailed me today, hot off the press, I guess, a new product that they've just done. These are called Let's Get the Ball Rolling. And it's a metal sculpture, garden sculpture. It's 36 inches in diameter. They don't ship this item because it's too big and too wieldy to do that, but you can actually, they'll deliver anywhere in the Toronto, in the GTA area. So, and that's available on their website. And they also added another product here to show you. These were really popular like last summer. He calls these the dandelions. Fun thing to add to your garden. You know, a nice piece of original art by a Canadian artist, and spruce up your garden. Nothing like a sculptures. I have a lot of sculptures in my yard here, and that I've gotten from artists over the years, and I've known in the neighborhood as the house. Oh, the artist's house. Right. I just say, where do you live? I'm like, oh, I'm the artist's house. Oh yeah, I know where that is. So it makes your house memorable when you've got a nice yard, when you've got a nice sculpture out there. So those are on special. Those are brand new today. And then today also, I just wanted to show you something else here. Joe Feak. Now, Kelly Epstein, I'll be having a little chat with her. I hope to do a little live interview with her later. But I just want to give you a heads up because look at these fantastic shirts. She used to make clothing with for kids, actually, and changed her whole direction and started making these beautiful shirts for men. Now, you know, who makes shirts for men that are like, these are fun. Like, these are the great party shirt, out and about, summer, barbecuing events. But she's got a special on right now for Father's Day. And there's a 25% discount. So I'm just going to show you here on our, you can get a better, well, I guess you can see them best here. Yeah, 25% discount on these beautiful shirts for men. And they do come in different sizes, small to triple. Yes, it's triple X, I think. Triple or double or triple, big anyway. Comfortable. I know Steve Veal, he's one of our Artfest team. He's one of the big supporters of the artist too, and he does shop when he's at the events. And he has a couple of these shirts, and he wears them during our art shows, and tell you, they look fabulous. He's also produces a film festival in Toronto called the Toronto Indie Film Festival. And so when he's doing this, being his host and his producer mode and out wants to dress up, he wears Kelly's shirts. So there you go. Pretty great. And 25% discount on for Father's Day. So that's pretty easy to actually shop on the Artfest website. So if you go to the shop artist, but you can also go over to the Toronto tab under the May exhibitors. I'm just going to share my screen again here. Here we are. So we have Toronto at the Toronto tab here. May exhibitors. These are all the exhibitors that are in a show for this show that would have been on the online, would have been on the real distillery show this past weekend. So they're on the online event. You can see them here. And if you can, we're going to be talking about this lady, the B-God Designs, B-Dog Designs. So she's doing macrame. So this is going to be great. I mean, it's been a long time since we saw macrame, but I love the fact that it's made a comeback in the art and crafts sector, because this is a beautiful art that I'm happy to see again. There's Joe Feak here. There he is, Father's Day special. Here's a nice shirt. So any of these places down here, you can click on any of these events here. I'm just going to take you over to, just do one quick one, Lori Slater. So Lord, all these photos click over to our blog post where you can read about the details and about the artist, the background, and how to buy their work. So we don't sell all the artwork on our website, but we have links to all the artist websites here. So that's where you have to go to get that. Easy to find them. Have a look around. We do a little profile about everybody. Lori Slater, fantastic Toronto photographer, just has a gift of an eye for getting the perfect shot. And she's got a pretty good, nice website too. I'll just take you over here to her gallery. She specializes in scenes around Toronto. I mean, if you're from Toronto, you'll recognize these. Took a tip-top tailor. She likes a lot of older buildings too. She did a whole series about buildings that were, destroyed, and did all the subway stations, the streetcar stuff. So lots of fun things around Toronto. Great gift ideas. And you can order them in different sizes, and she prints them on different types of surfaces. I think you can get canvas, you can get acrylic, you can get metal, lots of different things that she can actually print them on, which gives it a whole other element to it. So I'm just gonna take off my screen for a second here and back here. So we have a feature artist today, which I just wanted to bring up here. Get it set up. I talked about grip and stir. Grip. I keep calling it grip and stir. It's grip stir. It's like, you know, grip stir. remember my spoon? I think I showed you. Remember the utensils. So Tim's been a great, you know, at getting us material for our online event, and really participating in a big way. So yesterday I did an interview with him, and I can just play it for you here. And I was gonna. Here we are. Hang on for a second here. Get one more thing up for our, I just want to go to the store and find out. Here's his videos here. So let me quick time player. And hang on 1 second, sorry about the delay here. And share my screen. I'll get better at this. So here's my interview with Tim. Tim, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you, Lory.
Good. Welcome to our online Artfest chat.
Thank you.
We're going to be talking with Timothy Hellum today, and from Grip and Stir, and we're going to see what all he's up to in his workshop. Maybe he makes wonderful handcrafted items.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
Sure.
So you make a lot of practical and useful items out of wood. What do you make? What all do you make?
Well, I've always been sort of motivated to make things that are useful immediately, so that's the first directive for me anyway in making something. And the second thing is how something feels in your hand, because I make hand tools to be used by hand. And so smoothness is important. So sanding is a big part of my life. But I started off making kitchen tools, and those primarily can comprise what Gripster makes, or I make for Gripster. So anything from several different types of spatulas to salad tongs to small hand butter knives, or sometimes they're called spreaders, and charcuterie boards and chopping boards and various shapes and sizes, that sort of thing. But all things that you can use immediately in your kitchen.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I guess the actual design of the spoon and the tool is actually a pretty complicated process, I would think, to get the right curves and the right feel and the right handle. And how do you go about doing that part?
Well, it sort of started with some of the old tools that I have that belonged to my mother and my grandmother, who fortunately were passed down to me. And they primarily were flat, a flat spatula and a flat handle. And I still use them in my kitchen. A couple of the spoons that I have, in fact, are about 100 years old now, but I still use them. I decided I needed to feel them differently in my hand, and so I generally start in Illustrator and on the computer, and I draw the shape out that I like to the outline, and then once I've done that, I transfer that design to paper, and I take the paper and I trace it out to make just a basic blank shape, like you might buy a key blank before you cut it, that sort of thing. Right. And then having done that, I use that blank to actually draw on the piece of wood that I'm going to use, outline the shape. And so I will, excuse me, I'll take a piece of wood like this. I don't know if you can see it, but there are several shapes drawn on there, pre-shaped. And then use a bandsaw or a jigsaw to cut the actual shape out. So this is a raw piece, and then I use a sander to round the handle, and this one you can see is still square, and in some cases I'll take a different pieces of wood on either side and clamp them together to create a different wood above and below on the handle, just to give it a bit of visual variation. Okay, well,
I just feel like if things are flat, then all of a sudden you want to do like if you have a spatula and it's going along and it's going to have a bend in it, that takes a pretty big, wide piece of wood, right? It's like all of a sudden I'm just realizing that's a lot of wood in a piece.
Yes, yeah. As you can see, that's a fairly wide piece there, but yet the finished piece will be a fraction of that width. Will be the working piece, but I need the depth to get a curve through it this way. It would be easy enough to make a flat spatula, but if you make a spatula or a butter knife or so with the curve to it, it allows you, when you're actually cooking and stirring things and turning food over inside of a skillet or a pan, a curve will help facilitate that. Right.
Yeah. So I saw on your in your notes that you choose wood and you use a legacy cut board. What is that?
Well, these are boards that I find from particularly a couple of places, a lumber mill mainly north of me here in Bowmanville, called the Tyrone Mill. Maybe some of the people watching this may have heard of the mill. It was founded in 1846 and is still running to this day. It's an amazing place. But he's got an awful lot of boards that were cut at that mill, water power cut, back in the 30s and 40s. And they've been sitting around. And some of them are woods that people don't normally use, like bird's eye maple or butternut isn't used very much anymore, primarily because there's a moratorium on cutting butternut trees. And these boards have been sitting stacked in several sheds, particularly at this one mill, since that time. So that is what I mean when I mean legacy cut. They still have the same saw blades and saw marks and stuff. They were cut by these enormous round blades, 50 and 60 years ago.
Oh, wow. So I guess if they've been sitting that long, they have to cure, and are they kiln? Is that what that termination is? That kiln dried? Is that what you call it?
Well, back in the day, they didn't do kiln drying. Back then, they just put them in these outdoor sheds, and I suppose hope that people would just come and buy. And in many cases, some of these old odds and sods woods weren't purchased, and so they just remained in the shed. And so kiln drying is often used for modern woods, but these particular ones have been sitting. They've been naturally drying for that period of time.
Right. So do you have a favorite kind of wood that you like to work with?
I do. I love working with cherry wood. I make most of everything I make is out of cherry. It's very sculptural and cuts easily. And on the spectrum of softwoods and hardwoods, cherry is on the lower end, the softer end of the hardwoods, but it remains a hardwood. So it's a wonderful tone to the wood and color. And I think from a kind of a peach red to a dark red to a medium sort of rouge color.
Oh, nice. And it's all your pieces are made with Canadian hardwood. Is that right?
They are, yes. Yeah, maple and walnut and bird's eye maple, that sort of thing.
Yeah, and I also noticed that if you wanted to buy something from you on your website or on the Artfest store, that you have a choice. You can buy birch, maple, cherry, and what's the other one? Is there four? Walnut, right?
Yeah.
And what's the most popular? Or
I sell a lot of different types in person at shows like Artfest. Last year at the distillery, it was a great success, and I put out a variety of woods, and I suppose because I'm partial to cherry, I tend to market that one a little bit better, but I'm certainly open to whatever of those woods that it mentioned that I'm happy to make for people.
Yeah, well, I know I don't know if you saw our show when I talked to you the other day, but I actually have my spatula here.
Yes, that's cherry.
Love it. I use it every day. I mean, great. I mean, I love wooden tools myself, so I know they last forever, and they just get better and better.
They do. They pick up little nicks and things. I, for instance, if I'm stirring with a spatula and there's some food on it and you bang it on the pot to get rid of it, you'll end up with some marks and things on it. But I don't mind that at all for myself personally, because that's some character building over time.
So interesting too in your bio. I mean, you have quite a background. You've studied historical linguistics,
yes,
still photography and darkroom, printmaking, and enterprise IT.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
That's among your interests. And how do they play a role at all in the grip and stir business?
Well, my career right now is primarily in enterprise IT, and the fact that I can work with something that's made out of wood with my hands, out of a blank piece of wood, that sort of creation in a very manual sense is something that is completely opposite to what I do for my career. And so that's appealing to me because it's other. And I guess I started out in the humanities and moved to photo and studied photo at Ryerson many years ago, and now work in IT. It's a broad range of things to have studied. Yeah.
Yeah, man with many hats. I know that did take note that you take really good product photos.
Oh, thank you.
It's a very challenging thing to do. So you've really got it nailed down with that. Your photos are absolutely beautiful and great to show off on the Artfest website. It's easy to feature you. So you were mentioning that you're in Bowmanville. That's where your workshop is? Yeah.
I live here. My children I have two children. One's now in university, but my other goes to a school right nearby, a high school.
Oh, nice. Yeah, Bowmanville's a nice area. So you must have a lot of people that collect your work. Do you find that you customers pick up a piece and come back and add to their collection?
Yes, I've had that happen occasionally. I've been at some other shows in Toronto, and somebody will come to me and say, "Hey, I was at your distillery show, and I bought this piece from you," and I'm so glad that they have, and they've come back to pick up a complimentary piece in the same wood or a different piece.
Yeah, that's great, and that's what comes when when you're doing this for a while and you build your customer base and do shows. I mean, you sort of become well known, so like a craft show kind of rock star, right?
Well, I don't know if that's the case, but I certainly am appreciative when people remember me. That's nice.
Yeah, well. What is it that you love doing about the shows in person and being in person at a show?
Well, it's funny. I work alone in solitary sense, and I really appreciate that. I'm able to focus and concentrate. The ability to concentrate on one thing is not something that we're able to do so much these days anymore. We're multitask like crazy, and I certainly do that during the week in my career. So it's nice to be able to focus on a single thing. And when you do that, you can run the risk of not socializing as much as you probably ought to. And it was a wonderful surprise to start attending shows and find out how engaging it can be to talk to complete strangers. And as you know, and I'm sure many of the people or vendors who might be watching, you have to kind of be a salesman all the time. You have to be on at the show all the time. So I don't like to sit down. I stand all the time. And I put things in people's hands as I'm talking to them. And you need to sell what you're doing, and you can't sort of sit back and wait for people to sort of pick things up. And so I discovered I love talking to people, much to my surprise. So it's been a real treat. And people are interested and engaged. I'm delighted. It's a wonderful process to talk to people.
Yeah, it's a nice balance. I know whenever, when you get there, you set up and you arrive, and then all you have to do is worry about selling and talking to people. You don't have to worry about anything else. It's really it's almost like a little holiday. But
it is. Isn't that true? Yeah.
Yeah. So how are you finding it with right now with the situation we're all in with the shows being canceled? How are you managing? Do you find it easy to sell your work online?
It's easy enough to present it and put it out there. Like you were saying, I have a little photo studio set up in the corner of my basement, where I can set up my lights and throw the product out and do a shot and get it up online and tweak the Etsy store and tweak my own website I wrote as well. So that's easy enough to do. But I think the things that I like about my pieces that I make is how they feel. And that's very hard to translate to an online audience. So, and there's an awful lot of people making kitchen tools. It's kind of a niche environment in which to present things. But if you go and search for charcuterie boards, you'll be flooded with images. And if you search for spatulas, you'll get an equal number. But it's feeling things and picking them up. So I discovered that being in person at a show is really the ideal scenario for what I do, where people can hold things in their hands.
Yeah. And also, that's where, you know, when you're out at the shows, that's where you're really building your clientele and people remember you and they add to the collection. I think as somebody's already purchased from you before and is one of your customers, and it's much easier for them to just say, hey, I want to add it onto my collection right now.
Indeed, indeed. And when you're in person, you can often provide a little backstory on where the wood came from. I had a supply of apple wood from my uncle's orchard in Montreal, and I made a whole bunch of pieces, and I was able to talk about the tree that it came from and how my relationship is to go back and get this wood from my uncle. And it's nice when you buy something from somebody who's actually made the thing in front of you. You can have that immediate discussion about provenance, and I think that's added value to an in-person show.
Yeah. Well, we're all missing the Artfest shows. I'm hoping that we're going to be back at shows soon. But meanwhile, we've got this great platform. We can talk to artists and help them sell, hopefully. So thanks for being on with us here, Tim. And make sure you can shop at Tim's website, which is gripandStir.com.
Just Gripster, actually.
Sorry,
Gripster.com.
Gripster.com. Sounds like you're a hipster gripster. And you can do that on his website, but also on the Artfest website. You can just go to our website, artfestontario.com, and you can read about Tim and see his work and get a chance to get to know him. So thanks so much for coming on board, and we'll see you soon. Okay.
Thank you very much indeed.
Have a great day. Bye.
Bye-bye.
There we go. There was my interview with Tim. Oops. So lots of fun with that. It was nice to see him working in the background there too. You can see how much work goes into those spoons, and makes you really appreciate his work and buying something really handmade. And looks like Andy's back. Just to see what he's up to here. And he can play another song. Maybe we'll go a few minutes over 2 o'clock over our hour today, because we want to be able to make sure that we can accommodate Andy to play another song. And we'll come see if we can get him hooked up here. So while he's doing that, I can just do a couple more things. Andy, you almost ready? I can see here, make him a co-host. Hang on. So I'll just get him while he's getting ready up there. I'll just take you to one more.
Work, Lory?
You ready?
I think so. Did that work?
I don't have your screen.
Yeah, my computer was not cooperating today.
No. I don't have any screen here.
No, I shared it.
See your picture, your words, and I don't have a share. I see you're sharing, but I don't know where your screen went. We have a little bit of a technical problem here. Don't know how to fix that. I'm just going to take people over to our website for a second, Andy, while you get that sorted out. I'm just going to go over to talk about, where is that? Jesse Bateman is one of our newer artists at Artfest. He's a leather worker, young man, and has a fantastic display in a booth and great presentation, great salesmanship. One of those, people were top 5 on our jurors list last year to win the award for best artist of the show. And I was just going to take you over to his website for a second and just show you what he's up to, because he's got a really great, just a sec, I guess I'm not, hang on here. Stop sharing that for a second. I'm just going to share you over here. Here we go. You see that now? So here we are over Jesse's website here. Beautiful, beautiful handmade belts. It's all custom made to lengths. He does the fitting right there. He has styles for casual wear, formal wear, but I'm just going to play this little video here for you.
Hi, Jesse Bateman, founder and leather artist here at Solid Leather. I want to take a moment and talk to you about the Solid Leather Guarantee. My big thing is a belt that's really going to last. Most belts these days have a lot of glue, cardboard, whatnot in them. All of my belts are 100% solid leather. I back them all up with a lifetime guarantee. I call it my lifetime guarantee. I'm hoping my kids will follow suit. They're a little young. We'll see how that goes. All the belts are custom sized right to you, so it's a perfect fit. The other really nice thing about these belts is most belt hole spacing is an inch between each hole. And you know how you always want to kind of put it right in between two holes? Well, here with solid leather, we do 3/4 of an inch. So it's a little more fine-tuned, a little better of a fit. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, don't hesitate to reach out below. I love to be able to get feedback from customers so that I can show what solid leather is really about.
There you go. That's Jesse Bateman from Solid Leather. Lovely young man and very hardworking. I know for him the shows have been devastating, you know, with all the show cancellations. Luckily for him, he's got a pretty good online presence. You can find him on our artfestontario.com website. If you go to the Toronto exhibitors page, you can click on his link and you'll read about his story. And you can shop at his store. So that's Jesse Bateman. So I'm just going to see if Andy's up here again. There he is. See if we can get it working. Can you hear me?
Working now?
I can't see your, well, I can't see your screen. What are you seeing over yours? Oh, well, so he says he's fine. Okay, we're good to go. I just can't see it for some reason.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we're all set.
Kind of strange, eh?
Sorry about that. I don't know why I'm not seeing you, but that doesn't matter. Everybody else can.
Computers are wonderful when they work.
Welcome back.
I'm glad to be back. Thank you. I made it. I wasn't sure I was going to make it back today because my computer was not cooperating with me. But anyway, I think we came to a compromise and things are going again. So this is a song you might recognize, and again, as I said, it was for it's for the kids and the adults, the little kids and the big kids. Sing along if you know it. Now old Mr. Johnson had troubles of his own. He had a yellow cat that wouldn't leave his home. He tried and he tried to give the cat away. He gave it to a man going far, far away. But the cat came back the very next day. The cat came back. They thought he was a goner, but the cat came back. He just couldn't stay away. Give me meow. Meow. So he gave it to a man going way out west. He told him for to take it to the one he loved the best. First the train hit the track and then it jumped a rail. Not a soul was left around to tell this gruesome tale. Except for one. The cat came back the very next day. The cat came back. They thought he was a goner, but the cat came back. He just couldn't stay away. Give me meow, meow. So he gave it to a man going up in a balloon. He told the boy to take it to the man in the moon. The balloon came down about 90 miles away. Where that man is now, well, I can't say. But there's one thing I can say. The cat came back the very next day. The cat came back. They thought he was a goner, but the cat came back. He just couldn't stay away. Meow, meow. Well, the cat was a possessor of a family of his own, with 7 little kittens till there came a cyclone. It tore the houses all apart and tossed cats around. The air was filled with kittens, but not one was ever found. One was. The cat came back the very next day. The cat came back. He thought he was a goner, but the cat came back. He just couldn't stay away. Give me meow, meow. One more time. Meow. Hit the road, cat. Don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, cat. Don't you come back no more. Do you guys remember the Stray Cats? Black and old stray cat sitting on the fence. Ain't got enough dough to pay the rent. I'm flat broke, but I don't care. I strut right by with my tail in the air. Yeah. Here we go. One more time and then we're out. The cat came back the very next day. The cat came back. We thought he was a goner, but the cat came back. He just couldn't stay away.
Wonderful.
You guys remember that one?
That
Words went too hard.
Thanks for coming on again. I hope we can do this again. This has been so much fun.
Oh yeah, for sure. Now that we're working out all the glitches, yeah, it'd be good to do a show that doesn't have a glitch.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
You're very natural, you know, playing in your basement studio there, recording studio there. People can't even.
It takes some getting used to. Yeah, it takes some getting used to, because I would play for a lot of people and you get a reaction from people. So it is nice having you talk to me afterwards, because when you're doing a live stream and you're not talking to anybody and you're just kind of talking to a camera, it's like you're at a bit of a loss, you know?
It's funny. That's one thing that really helps me actually, is that I can see my face when I'm talking. So I actually am talking to myself, so I can actually get a reaction.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I don't want to talk to myself. I do that enough.
It's just me, but it helps me. Keep going and knowing that I'm, you know, getting a reaction for somebody, even if it's my own face. So.
I know, it's funny. Oh well, we get used to that.
Yeah. So thanks a lot, and we'll do this again. And take care. I'm just going to stop sharing our screen now.
Bye bye.
See you later. Okay. Take care. Bye. Here we are. That was great. Let's make sure I don't close the wrong windows here. There we are. So this has been fun today, even though we had a little bit of a thing with the music, but we worked it out. So I'm just going to take us to one more thing. We've got one more thing we didn't do yet today, and that was with our Artfest Kids program. So we've got a new little project up on our website. And this one is called Underground Paintings. And so Sabrina's put together a great project. Right now, everybody's got gardening on their mind. And I know kids are fascinated with gardens and growing things. They learn, you know, they'll put a seed in the ground and then watch it sprout and then have the roots grow and the things come up. And it's just like, for them, it's magic. They feel so powerful, I think, thinking that, you know, they grew that thing. So this is a fun little art project that you can tie in with your home gardening projects and let your kids. So I'm just going to go over and share the screen again. Over here. And make this full screen. Here we go. Oh, shit. that ends our show for today. We went over a few minutes early. I hope you hung in there and stayed and watched the kids program. So the that kids activity, children's activity, is on the artfestontario.com website. If you go to the Toronto tab, you can click on Artfest Kids, and then all of our videos are there for kids to do whenever they want. I know it's a speeded up version, but that's what we think is a good idea. You can pause that video when you're watching it if you need to, take in any details at all. So thanks for coming on with us again today, day 6 of the Artfest Online event. I'm Lory MacDonald, your host, and this is at artfestontario.com. So we'll see you tomorrow at 2 o'clock. We'll be live on again. We're live on Facebook and live on Zoom. You can click the link and just join right in. So take care and have a great day. Thanks for joining us.